Good morning and welcome to Achilles SAP Analytics Cloud live demonstration. Apologies for starting just a couple minutes late from technical difficulties, but we're getting underway now. So thank you all for your time and joining. Hopefully this will be a productive use of your time. My name is Josh Fadley. I'm Achilles Business Planning Practice Director here at Achilles. And before we get started, I have just a few housekeeping items for everyone in attendance. One, your audio will be on mute for the duration of the call today. So if you have any questions or have any issues, feel free to send us a message via the on-screen chat panel. And then at the end, for any questions that pop up, we'll address those at the end of the presentation. Upon completion of this, we will email the full presentation and the recording to you all. And so thank you again for your time. And in just a moment here, we'll go ahead and start our introductions. So if we go to our first slide here, last time we spent some time going through the SAP BPC and Analytics Cloud roadmap. If you happen to attend the webinar last month, spent some time going through that. If you have any questions and follow-up to that, feel free to let us know as well. We also have the recording and the presentation from that session. Today, we will be going through part 2 of our demonstration and webinar series here with the live demonstration of Analytics Cloud. And then the next step in this process will be an on-site hands-on workshop that'll be taking place in the middle of January, on January 15th here at our office in Dallas. And so if you're interested in attending that session, feel free to let us know. We'll have more information coming out of the webinar today as well. By way of introductions, again, my name is Josh Fadley, and on the call today, we also have Chris Kirby, who will be doing the demonstration for us. Chris Kirby is one of our senior Achilles consultants here and project leaders. He has his MPA and BBA in accounting and started in public accounting with Ernst & Young, more than 15 years within this space. And he's worked in finance for companies like Sony and Hilton Worldwide and has a number of years of experience across consolidations and forecasting and reporting solutions. As you can see on the right-hand side, in terms of who Achilles is, we have a number of different awards that we like to tout and speak highly of ourselves for, certainly. But one of the ones that we're most proud of is that we've been named one of the best companies to work with in Texas for several years running here, and typically been in the top 25 within our category. For those of you not familiar with Achilles, Achilles is named from a Swahili word, which stands for knowledge. We are headquartered here in Dallas with locations in Houston, Atlanta, and Denver with hubs of consultants there. We've been around since the early 90s and have spent a number of years focused on different spaces from custom application development to data integration, and we've spent the last 10, 11 years focused on this EPM space, have been an SAP partner since 2007, and we're working with OutlookSoft prior to that as well. In terms of what we do and what we bring to the market, our primary focus is in the business planning space, and for us, that pertains quite often to the office of the CFO for both financial planning and consolidations, but also sales performance management, territory and quota planning, those types of things, as well as supply chain management and planning. So demand planning, supply planning, inventory management, capacity planning, et cetera. Alongside that, we offer a number of different capabilities, including reporting analytics, data migration and visualization and data integration. And then underlining all of our projects is just the core focus on the people and the process side of a solution. A lot of times it's easy to get lost in the technology, and we keenly focus on delivering successful solutions that address people challenges, address process challenges, and not just the technology on its own. And so we do offer business process analysis and improvement, organizational change management, as well as the training and mentorship. So with that being said, thank you again for joining, and we'll hand it off to Chris.
Thanks, Josh. Hey, everyone. I'm excited to be here today and share with you a few of my favorite things about SAC Analytics Cloud. So I'm going to do a really quick recap. You know, as we discussed last time, we were going to focus primarily on a demonstration today, letting you see Analytics Cloud at work. But I wanted to cover a couple of things that we talked about in our last meeting. We were talking about how PPC integrates so well with SAP Analytics Cloud in a hybrid environment to have a state-of-the-art planning, budgeting, and forecasting tool for your environment. So today we're going to be focused on SAC, and this demonstration, I'll show you some cloud-based reporting and dashboards, which are very strong visualizations compared to some of our competitors out in the cloud marketplace. I think SAP has done a really great job with this. You'll get to see a little bit about predictive analytics capabilities within SAC. I'll show you how SAC can connect to many different source systems. And then also I'll show you a little bit about some end user on-the-fly modeling capabilities within the system. So we'll go ahead and turn over to our demonstration now. Just a second. So if you haven't seen it before, this is SAP Analytics Cloud. It's completely in the cloud. I'm using a Chrome browser. And you can see up here, we'll kind of do a top-down review of this landing page. This landing page, you can put different tiles on it. You can see over here that this is a sample numeric point chart. You can choose any of your charts that you've got and put them up on a landing page, or you can also just have it start right from the story. Story is the term used within SAP Analytics Cloud for a collection of visualizations and reports and input templates. One of the things that is noteworthy of this tool from SAP is that in the past, it's been difficult sometimes to get trained on the product. SAC is making great strides in their training programs, so much so that they've started doing video tutorials for this product. There are many in here, and they're quite helpful to just kind of get you going and get you started in the tool and allowing you to explore the functionality within SAC. One of the things we talked about in our last presentation and in the cloud-based tool, one of the things you're looking for is commenting and collaboration capabilities in the tool. So right next to that help icon, we've got this collaboration tool. So I can start a conversation in here. I can start it throughout my stories, and you can start a dialogue within the tool, keep focused on it, not having to refer back to and forth to emails and attachments. The system is updated every 2 weeks. SAP is doing extensive development on this product, so they're always rolling out new changes. If you want to see what those changes are, or you can see the activity that's going on in the system, you can see here I had loaded some files previously. There's a notification center there as well. So this is the landing page. This icon up here is our main menu. It's also called the hamburger icon, which I thought was kind of cute. So I'm jumping into a story now, where you can start to see some of the visualization capabilities within SAP Analytics Cloud. This home page could be the landing page. So instead of the landing page that I just showed you, you could log in and this would be what you would see. It's completely customizable. One of the things that I want to mention about this too is that we were talking about the ability to blend data together, to bring different data sources together in a single place. So what I've got here on this screen over on the left-hand side, I've got some KPIs that we've chosen. This is a fictitious consultant company with some mock data in it. So we've chosen some KPIs here on the left-hand side, and they're coming from disparate data sources. So if I wanted to show that to you so that you can kind of see where those are coming from, then I can click on this tile, for instance, the headcount per team tile, and I can go back and show you where the source data is coming from. So my headcount information is coming from SAP SuccessFactors. My profitability per region information is coming from S4. This widget up here is coming from an AccuWeather website. So you have a capability to pull things in. One of the great things that I love about the tool is the geographical capabilities. The geographical information services is very robust in here. So what this chart is looking at is actually about air travel throughout the world. It's got some information in it from concur. And so the interactive capabilities of the tool are really great. So if I go, for instance, down over here to profitability per region, if I click on Latin America, then my charts are going to start updating just for information on Latin America. You can see the global map has changed. I can grab it and move it around and get kind of an overview of what's going on throughout the world. Now, one of the things that's going on here is that I noticed that I'm a large consulting organization. I deal with a lot of contractors. And I'm looking at my headcount per team here, and I'm not seeing any contractor information. So within this chart, I can add in that contractor information. And if I wanted to communicate to somebody about that I was noticing it wasn't fair, then I've got an option to add a comment. I'm going to start with grabbing the data, getting a little delay here. So I'm going to back out of this for a moment. I hope this isn't my web connection. And if I can get a verbal confirmation that people can hear me too, I want to make sure that I haven't completely dropped out somehow.
Yes, we can hear you, Chris.
Okay, thank you. So we've got our charts reloading here. Apologize for the delay. This hasn't been happening. I don't know what's going on. So I'm going back to this designer. There we go. This is what we want to see. I'm going back to the data sources, and I want to show you how I can add in, how easy it is to add in another linked data source. So as I was saying with headcount per team, it was just SAP success factors. I want to add in that contractor information. I actually there's a tool from SAP called Fieldglass for managing your external workforce, and that's where this data is kept. So I'm going to go into SAP Fieldglass. I'm going to create the link. I can see that I'm already connected to a success factors model, and I'm going to add in my Fieldglass model. You can see that it smartly identifies where the fields match, and I can go ahead and confirm that and set it. And then over here on my measures, on the left-hand side, I've got employees, but I want to see my contractor information. And I know that's in Fieldglass, so I'm clicking on Add Measure now. Again, it's rendering a little slow today. I'm not sure why that is. Overall, the system is very fast, certainly in terms of loading and showing these visualizations and being able to navigate through them. So I've connected to my SAP Fieldglass information. I'm going to grab this contractor information over here and drop that in. So now you can see that I have both my contractor information and my employee information all in one space, and I want to keep that changed. So another capability of this tool that you can notice down here, if we're taking a tour around here, is there's a profitability forecast. And there are other widgets and tools in here so that I can look at this forecast and I can say, okay, I'm looking at Q1 2017. Well, what if I want to expand or contract the time frame that I'm looking at? I can just click and grab and drag and draw these icons back and forth to expand and contract the amount of data that I'm looking at. With this profitability forecast, if I wanted to get some additional insights, I can add a forecast to it. So just by clicking on this icon here, Add Forecast, I've got a couple of options. I can drop in an automatic forecast, or I've got some advanced options to do a linear regression, triple exponential smoothing, or another additional input of your choice. So for this demonstration, I'll just grab an automatic forecast, and it'll take a moment here to do the calculations and put it up on the screen. So this is what I want to show you on the home page. You'll notice up here at the top that I've got a couple other tabs. I've got one for HR, sales, finance, and planning. We'll go into HR here for a moment and look at a couple of additional analysis, and then we'll jump over to planning. We won't get into detail on sales and finance, but just so that you can see a quick visual on them, I'll take a moment and show you some of the other visual capabilities for something like sales. You can put your funnel online and your pipeline and take a look at it visually and interact with it. Put opportunities in or out that you're looking at to get a sense of what's going on with your organization. Other capabilities in terms of finance, there are allocations capabilities and value driver trees. But again, we're going to focus today quickly on HR and planning so that you can get a real sense, of the tool. So if I go here to my HR page, you can see that I've got some KPIs over here on the left that we've chosen. Got a couple of visualizations. I see some red going on here, which usually is not a good indicator for us. So I'm going to click on this, and I want some more information about this. So what I can do, you can see this icon here. I can click on it. This is called a Smart Insight. And what this is going to do is it's going to go back with some of its machine learning and artificial intelligence capabilities and go back and take a look at the data and say, hey, these are some things I noticed about your data. So it's already come up with a smart insight in terms of what are the top contributors to contractors in Budget on Track. So Adam Tang is my top supervisor contributor. He's a 220% above average. This is the related staffing agency and category, as well as Beijing being the top office. It's gone ahead and suggested a chart for the people who are accountable for the contractors. So I can see that in addition to Adam Tang, it's also Benedict Bergman. And if I wanted to, I could click Add as a Chart and drop this information into this chart or to my home page, landing page, wherever I wanted to put it. Another chart that draws our attention is this chart here, that we can see that we've got a lot of negative variances going on in terms of terminations within our organization. And another way to do analysis is to kind of go and explore the data itself. So with this terminations information in mind, we're going to go over to the Data tab here, which allows us to kind of scroll through and do a high-level analysis on the data. There is another option called Smart Discovery, and this example that I'm about to give you is not Smart Discovery. If I run Smart Discovery on something, it does a full-blown analysis and pulls up various different charts and bits of information for you. It's really been interesting to see, you know, if you throw survey information in here, what it gleans out of that. Where I am going to go is over here on the left-hand side, and what you can see here, these are all data sources that have been connected to this presentation and to this story. You have many more options, and I will show you the other data connections that are available a little bit later on. So right now you can see that this is connected to a Kelly planning demo, but I know that my data that I want to, that's related to terminations, is in success factors. And I'm curious about my employees. So what's rendering here at the top of the screen is the dimensionality of that data. So within the measure information, I just clicked on employees, and it's saying I've got 4,883 employees. But I want to go over here to event and see what's going on with terminations. I can see that it's already suggested this chart for me. I did not produce this chart. You can see over here, let me grab my highlighter, so it's a little easier to see. You can see that this was auto-suggested by the system, and there's a lot of this going on within Analytics Cloud. I'm going to turn off my highlighter so that I can click here, and you can see that I can drill down on terminations, and I get some more information about, I've got some voluntary terminations, and I've got some that were due to career development. So in theory, people are leaving the company because they're not advancing the way that they would be hoping to. I can also say that we can also say that down here that a lot of people were leaving due to work-life balance. And then I might want to know, well, who in the company is this, a factor of the position of the person within the organization. So this chart in this manner, I might want to explore it in a different way. So I'll take this opportunity to show you a number of different charts and tables that are available to us. So we've got comparisons, trends, distributions. You can see these popping up. I'm kind of aware of our time, so I don't want to go into these too much. I don't want to run over. I do want to make sure I can show you everything. But I am going to hover over these quickly so that you can see that you can read donut pies, everything that you're seeing on the story pages for HR and planning, plus many more. So in this example, I think a heat map would be a little more helpful in identifying what's going on. So we can see clearly here that at our senior specialist level, that this is where the turnover is going on. And then I would be like, okay, so I know I've got senior specialist issues. I want to know what office it's in. And you can see across the top that I don't have any office location information, but I can add it in here really quick. And then I can start to explore down further based on office information. So that's a really great tool for being able to comb through your data without having to export it or go back to your BI tool. You can do all the data exploration within the tool to gain some insights and have productive meetings. So coming back now to our HR scenario here, we've gotten some insights about what's going on with terminations, but then maybe we want to run a what-if scenario and set some goals and objectives in our meeting about how we can reduce termination or how that might impact our organization. So if I go down here at the bottom, let me grab the highlighter so you can see where I am. So if I go down here at the bottom, then you can create another tool as well. So if I've got termination, I think I can do it at 6.5%. Well, what happens if I draw it up to, say, 10%? What kind of an increase in profit do I get? Then I can get up to 5.26 million. So the strength of this is to be able to go into a meeting, have a presentation, have people interact with the data during the meeting. This really gets you away from having to do a PowerPoint presentation. This becomes your presentation. It becomes an interactive meeting. If you're the finance person preparing the meeting, then you can throw away this PowerPoint deck. Where you get a request to run 5 different scenarios, you'll be able to do those scenarios live and active in this manner instead of having to produce 4 different PowerPoints. So that's going to wrap up the HR portion. Let me just check my notes real quick and make sure I got you everything I wanted to show you there. So I'm going to go over here to planning because this is really key as well. This is where it would connect. It's all connected to BPC, but if you're focusing on the planning capabilities within SAP Analytics Cloud, then this is a very basic input template where you can send the data back to BPC. This grid here is an interesting format because it has this table on the left-hand side of data that's been pulled in, but you can actually interact with the data that's been pulled in. So you could have multiple tables of data in here from disparate data sources and then start doing, basic calculations on it and creating formulas. So I thought that was pretty cool. One of the other things I like about this web interface and a nice feature that wasn't available in VPC is that if I click on a number here, say this APJ figure, it's 4.9%, and let's say I want to grow it by 15%, I can just press the plus icon and I can type in 15%. And what you'll notice here with the highlighted cells is it pushes it both up and down throughout all of the data. With BPC, we were never able to, or it was really difficult to do, pushing data down from your parents to your children. Within SAP Analytics Cloud, it's built in, it's default. You don't have to do anything special to set this up. As long as you've got your hierarchies in place, it's all available to you. Similarly, if I just wanted to add in 10 million there, you can see that it recognizes that that's the units that we're using is millions, so I can just put in plus 10, and all of a sudden EMEA's got another $10 million in it. If for some reason you wanted to change some figures and drag them across, then you have that capability as well. Does all the calculations and everything that you want to do for you. One of the things that I was going to mention to you for on-the-fly modeling and being able to do your own versions, you give this tool to your executives or you use it for yourself, and that you can instantly take and quickly take up and create new versions. So if I go and click on version management here, it's just this icon up here on the toolbar. You can see I've got some public versions that are out to everyone within the company. And then we've also got private versions, but I don't have any yet. But those, you can go ahead and create one from an existing forecast. I can just click on duplicate. I can call this a Keely demo. It's going to use the forecast category to start off with before I make any changes to it. And then you've got a private version. And then when you're ready to share it with others, then you can selectively share it to a number of different individuals. So this makes version management and the ability to do some private one-off what-if analysis very easy. I'm going to take you over now and show you how easy it is to get data into the model. We go to Browse, and we go to Models. Typically in software packages, you're looking for like File, Import, or whatever. But Analytics Cloud has the ability to take a spreadsheet and turn it into a model very quickly and very easily. So I think that's why they've gone through the logic of saying Browse, and then you go to Models. I'm not going to save this data or that new version, so I'm going to revert, and I'm going to leave this page. And I'm going to take you, so these are all some models that are in our environment here. And I want to create a new model, so I click that plus icon, and you can see the options that it gives to me. I can start with a blank model. You can do that. You can import a file from your computer, which we'll do here in a moment. But this is the data sources section that I wanted to talk to you about, or that I mentioned earlier. So you can see there's a lot of SAP in here. Many of these are going to be available for live data interaction. So the data will pass back and forth instantaneously. Down at the bottom, there is a connection available for our SQL databases. Since so many people use that, I think that's a really smart addition to their connector. Concur is in there. You've got some Google options in terms of BigQuery and Google Drive, OData services, and Salesforce, and of course PPC. And these connections, once you've got the SAP connector in place, then it comes really easy to manage your connections. The connector does take a little while to get it set up. I would say it's about a week to do that. So what I want to show you here is what happens if we bring in a file from the computer to build a model. I'm just going to grab a really generic CSV file so that I can show you some of the features and capabilities that's unique in this tool where I hadn't seen in other places. So it takes a moment to pull the data. You can see that the speed is doing better as we're moving through this presentation now. We had a little difficulty earlier on, but it looks like we're kind of back up to speed now. So what's happened now is pull that file in, and we're going to take a look at the data sample. And actually, from this data sample, I can build my model. In a sense, you're kind of getting a view of what the model is going to look like. SAP goes in and does an analysis on it, and it kind of predetermines and says, it tries to make a guess at what it thinks things are. So it's, for example, on company and year and period. If we look over here on the right-hand side, grab the highlighter. Over here on modeling, it's saying that this is a dimension. And I'm fine with that. I could switch it to be time to make it the time dimension or whatnot. But in terms of account, if I wanted to, like, for example, over here in the type column, this is actually an attribute of the account. That is a balance sheet or whatnot. So I want to change that. I'm going to make that a property. And it takes a moment for that to pull that up. I'm not going to go all the way through, but there is just one data transformation tool that comes in handy here. So I'm going to go over here to net, and this is really not the dimension. This is the net of debit and credit. So it didn't get that one right. So I'm going to change this. This really should be a measure. And watch what happens to data quality. I've got a green bar here, but that's going to change. So I've loaded in a bunch of characters that really should not be that. And so I've got this draft data source in SAC, but it's kind of a mess right now. You can see the ratio of what's clean versus what's not clean over here under data quality. So this tool that's in here is called a transformation. I can create a transformation. I'm going to do a replace. I'm not going to replace just the cell. I'm going to replace all the content. I can just change a specific cell, and I'll show that to you in just a moment. But I can replace all of them in the entire file with a 0. So you may have seen the screen flash for a second while it was going through that transformation, validating it. And now if you look at our data quality, we found most of the issues that are in that data. If I go and sort this data, it'll show me where I've got further errors. So for example, on this first one here, I'm going to show you this one other, is that it's smart enough, doesn't always get it right, but it's smart enough to say, hey, there's a leading character in here. I think you really want this number to be 101,000 and not 0101. So I can say, yeah, that's right, and then I can move forward. And now you can see over here what happened to our data quality. Just changing that character to a 0 cleaned up the majority of our data. We're not going to go through the rest of these. I think you get the gist on that. But the key point I do want to make here is that now, once I set my dimensionality here, I can go ahead and click Create Model, and it will go through and it'll build that little model for us. And then subsequent data loads, you can pull it in, and these transformations will be applied as well. So that is everything that I wanted to share with you today about SAC Analytics Cloud. I hope you are as excited about it as I am. I think this is a really great offering that we have from SAP. It's available to serve all lines of business, as you've been able to see with our examples through HR and the homepage on there. You've got the cloud-based benefits, lower total cost of ownership. It's easier to deploy. I really believe that these visualizations are some of the best in the industry right now. So I thank you for joining me today. And if you have questions, please reach out to us. And we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris. Yep. So as we wrap up here, I do want to thank you again for your time today. There are a couple of just purchasing options here on the screen to show you all. So, you know, a lot of times SAP's pricing can be, quite honestly, hidden a little bit, and it can be a challenging process to buy, just being frank in our experience. And so one of the things that SAP has done, which is quite great in my perspective at this point, has made it very easy to buy. And so there is a simple free trial that we can go through, and really user-friendly options for acquiring licenses for the BI and visualization pieces. And as you get into some of the planning use cases, that's where you may want to have more thorough conversations. But obviously, be happy to spend time talking with your particular needs and talking about what might be best for you. I will say, to Chris's point, as we've spent a lot of time in this space across different platforms and tools, and the planning capabilities continue to grow within Analytics Cloud, which is great. It can be its own standalone planning solution today. And also, I would argue that the visualization capabilities are at the top of the market compared to any of the other tools that you may see out there, the Tableaus, et cetera. And so even if you're not looking at this as a pure BPC replacement or instead of BPC, just looking at it from an analytics perspective, it's a great tool for bringing the data together, helping you to sanitize it and provide and perform analytical capabilities in there. So thank you again for your time. Again, as a next step on this, we will be following up with each of you with the recording and the presentation. So if you have any questions coming out of that, please don't hesitate to let us know. And we will be hosting the workshop taking place on January the 15th here in Dallas. And so if you're in the area or plan to be in the area, we'd be happy to host you all. And so feel free to let us know. Again, we'll be following up with you on that too. So with that being said, we'll give you just a couple of minutes back here. We're happy to hang on the line. I don't see any questions in the chat. So again, thank you for your time and look forward to speaking with you all soon. Take care.